Upon assumption of office in the year 2017, President Akufo-Addo immediately set in motion his rigging agenda. Having failed to deliver on his promises to the people of this country, and seeing defeat staring glaringly at him, he is in conjunction with the Jim Mensa-led EC and Ken Atefa-led NIA are desperately scheming to rig the 2020 general elections and hold on to power at all costs.
We didn't elect their flag bearer for them. They elected him. If they find that he is an albatross around their neck, they should not be making excuses way ahead of the election in order to justify his loss in December, which is inevitable. We call on the NDC to face up to the realities of the time and convince the Ghanaian people why they must bring an inept, clueless, and incompetent Mahama back to power after he ran down the country in the manner that he did.
But the point about the register is that people got on the register with a card, the National Health Insurance, that they ought not to have gotten onto it. That's what the Supreme Court said.
Good.
So that the register is contaminated.
Good.
Clearly.
Good. And that register was used to elect the president.
Correct.
And the members of parliament.
Yes.
And that register was used to conduct demarcation of regions.
Yes, correct.
And that register was used to conduct district assembly elections.
Yes.
And then the EC said that register is very good and the elections went very well. Okay? And then now you want to introduce a new register.
Yes.
Now the
an improvement upon the biometric.
It cannot be an improvement.
Because you're adding eye features.
No, this is ignorance. They say these things. The biometric, the fingerprint, by international standards, has 96% plus, 99.4% accuracy than even the facial recognition. When it comes to facial recognition, it has difficulties and challenges, especially with black people.
Okay, but we are adding facial recognition. So we are making the register better.
No, it cannot be better. How can you take something which is 99 point...
But that's already on. We're going to recapture it.
That is, you take a document.
But why do you want to continue using a contaminated register?
You cannot. Well,
the Supreme Court said that.
It is a contaminated so-called register that has elected a contaminated president and contaminated parliamentarians.
But
is that what you're saying?
I'll ask you the same question. The non-biometric...
Is that what you're saying?
The non-biometric voters register elected Professor Mills as president, but we needed to change it. Why didn't we say that this is a non-biometric register that's elected?
We went through a process.
Yes.
Okay? We went through a process.
And that process has shown to be flawed.
Please. We went through a process, and with that process, all the political parties came together. There was consensus, there was a technical committee, there was a legal committee. We were all involved in the process. This is their report. Okay? With this particular biometric register that they want to do, first of all, there's no transparency, there's opacity. The EC themselves told us that there was a report from Charlotte Osei that said that the register had to be changed. We've asked for that report till date. We haven't received it.
Oh, it's the Justice Crabb report. I have it.
I
have that. I've used this on this program. Justice Crabb.
We haven't seen it.
Oh, I can share with you.
We haven't seen
Justice
it.
VCRC Crabb said that the register should be changed.
Please. So the EC told us that there is a document. We asked for it. And they said they were going to supply us with that document. We said, okay, let's have the document and see. Till date, we don't have that document.
No, I have it.
So are you the EC? Do I take official information from you?
No, I'm just saying that at the time the report was launched, I got it then.
Whatever report
2015.
they didn't say it's a Justice Crabb report.
That was the only.
They said. How do you know? How do you
that's
know?
The only
so why haven't they produced it?
I don't know about that.
So don't purport to speak for them.
I'm not speaking
whether
for
you
them.
have it or not is neither here nor there.
No, I'm
it's
saying
totally
that
inconsequential.
there is a Justice Crabb report.
Paul, whether you have it or not is totally inconsequential.
Fair enough.
It doesn't
Fair
really
enough.
matter. So the point is that.
And I don't even know whether they are referring to the same thing.
Exactly.
I have.
So
but I have a report like
bring
that.
In at all.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of opacity. 20 civil society organizations, they've done the analysis and showed that we don't need a new register. In fact, this current register has been upgraded several times. They went to Parliament to take money to upgrade the register. That is why it's been used for all these elections. So the register as it is today is fit for purpose. So that is one. Then you come to the new biometric register that they want to do. First of all, the processes are shrouded in secrecy. There's no information. We haven't had any proper IPAC. IPAC, we asked for proper briefing. They never did. They only called us to go for a certain procurement meeting, which we boycotted. They don't consult IPAC. They don't engage us, unlike the previous times when We were part of the legal committee. So even the drafting of the CI, we were part of it before it went to Parliament. Yeah. You see, this time, because they were in haste, they went to Parliament. The first CI, there were mistakes.
Yes.
Second CI, there were mistakes.
But it's not the first time that there are mistakes in CI.
Is that not?
That's not the first time.
But in our time, when we were all involved, we never had those kinds of
In 2012, Afarijan had a lot of difficulty with the CI.
We were all involved, and there was transparency, there was openness. This time around, there's nothing like that. Everything is opaque. Then added to that is this connivance with the NIA. First, you tell us that, oh, you are not going to use the NIA card. It was very clear. They said it in clear terms. Then, on your official document, you stated it clearly that they were going to use the existing voters card. What happened? What changed? Who influenced them? Who
Something
spoke
has
to them?
changed. Have you asked them?
Well, they won't even talk to you. They don't invite us for meetings.
Don't you have IPAC meetings?
No.
You mean there's been no IPAC meetings?
No. The EC themselves, first of all, their posturing and attitude, okay? They said, well, IPAC is
Was
advisory.
your Dr. Dominic Ayini not on the tender committee at the EC from Parliament?
He was. He was on it.
Didn't he have information?
He was on it when the first tender, the chairman of the tender committee said, for the sake of posterity, he doesn't want to be part of that fraudulent procurement, and he resigned.
But Dr. Dominic Ayini remains.
Yes, he was there. He's one person.
He hasn't told you anything. Does he have information?
If you have a committee of many people, what will one man do? So the point is that the most important person, who is the chairman of the tender committee, said the procurement process was not transparent and he was not going to be part of it. And the company they chose, Talis, is a company that has a whole lot of issues. But I don't even want
we have discussed that on this program before.
With the but the point is that the point.
Why are you saying that the EC wants to rig election? So
if you look at the NIA document, and we asked the EC, are you going to use the NIA document? They said no, because the NIA obviously would not be prepared. And it's so clear here. The NIA, they've not issued enough cards to all Ghanaians of all categories.
So what do you actually want? You want birth certificate to be made part of the primary document?
First of all, we don't think we need a new register. That's the first point.
That's not your decision to make.
No,
it's the EC's decision.
That is our position.
Yes, but it's inconsequential.
It is consequential.
No, the law says the EC has the discretion.
You see, Paul, you talk about discretion. Look. Yes. You see, when
many Supreme Court cases have held the position.
Article 284.
Yeah, says
you pass through.
You say where a man has a discretion,
it
mustn't be used capriciously. Yeah, but
okay, so your discretion must not be used in such a manner that the breeder document that we want to use will end up disenfranchising 2 million people. When the law that governs your activities, 42, says that you must undertake programs of 45E. Programs for the expansion of the register. And 142 says that people are entitled to be registered. Everything that the EC does must be done in a manner that will enhance people, make it easier.
Why is it that if an EC sets up a table here today to register people, and they say that you should bring your national identification card, or you should bring a driver's license, or you should bring a
driver's license is not part of it.
Okay, national identification card, or you should bring a passport. Or if you have neither, have somebody to say that he knows you. How is that disenfranchising people?
Okay, so we are not living in cuckoo's land. We are living on earth. And when you formulate policies or programs, you look at your environment and circumstances, and then you look at precedents. So first of all, there are only 2 million people who have passports in this country. Okay, and already those 2 million people have used the passport, most of them, for the NIA card. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Good. Now, out of those 2 million people, majority of them have not received their cards. So, majority of people do not have the NIA card, which is your breeder document.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, international best practices dictates that your breeder document should be able to cover over 90% plus of the population. So that the other one, people guaranteeing, becomes a secondary form of identification. Okay? Now, if you have a situation where, because of the breeder document you've chosen, majority of the people will not have that document. And therefore, majority of the people will have to depend on the secondary one. What it will mean is that there will be so much pressure on the secondary one, because it's meant to, even worst case scenario.
That is why they're asking one person to determine 10 people.
No, hold on. International best practice, and this is not rocket science. best practice means that it's something that has been tested and tried
Yeah.
all over. So if they say that, look, we've done studies across the world, that your secondary document should be able to take not more than 5% of the population. Let me even be flexible, 10% of the population. And you have a situation where your breeder document is going to disenfranchise over 70% of the people, right? So people now
Because
have to
they don't
rely,
have it.
Yes, now people now have to rely on the secondary. So people to guarantee. And I'm telling you that we've been in this Ghana where when the NI was doing registration, and we complained that if you take out the driver's license and voters register, you're going to have problems. And indeed, we went and had problems in Ghana here, not anywhere, not in Kukusland, in Ghana here, that people could not register. There were queues, people had to sleep, people had to put stones on the floor, sleep in places because the process became cumbersome. Are you understand me? So
Okay.
because of the
So
cumbersome
what's the
nature,
way out?
somebody comes 1 day, 2 days, not everybody can go and sleep at a polling station for 3 days.
So what's the way out?
So they'll become fed up and frustrated. So first of all, and again, the EC is leading us on a very dangerous path. We are in May. They haven't given us a timetable. They said they were going to start registration in April. April did not happen. They blamed it on COVID-19. It's not true. The equipment were not ready.
Oh, the equipment are not ready.
No, they were not ready. And then now, we don't even know the date. When would you finish with that registration process, clean the register, and make it available to the political parties? Now, the EC are saying that they don't have, their program is not out yet. And yet, when their Director of Election Services went for a conference with the ECOWAS Electoral Commissioners, he made a presentation. And I have it here.
Was it here in Ghana?
No, it was a video conference. 15th April 2020.
What did he say?
ECOWAS Network of Electoral Commissions reports impact of COVID-19 on upcoming elections in the ECOWAS region. Now let me go to Ghana, and you see why we are in danger. So Ghana, he said a lot of things. Then he says that the new electoral, the registration process is scheduled to start in June. When in June, he didn't say. And it's expected to be completed by mid-July 2020. He indicated that the EC divided the polling stations into clusters, each composed of 5 polling stations, and 8 days will be required for the registration of voters in a cluster. That is even a problem. Therefore, it will take a total of 40 days to complete this exercise. Then the Election Commission will need 5 days for the review of the registers list and display the provisional list from 15 to 28 September. Then between 12 and 15 October, the EC will proceed with the verification of the authenticity of the entries on the list, blah, blah, blah. The submission of candidates is scheduled from 5th to 9th October 2020. Okay, so take note of that date. The submission of candidatures is scheduled from 5th to 9th October 2020. And then when you go up, it says that then the Electoral Commission will need 5 days for the review of the voters list, and then the display of the provisional list will take place from 15th to 20th September. Then between 12th and 15th October, the EC will proceed with the verification of the authenticity of the entries on the electoral list. So by this, at the time that you say candidates should come and file their nominations, the full list is not ready. This is
In October.
Yes,
by October, when the candidates are filing their
yes,
nominations.
this is their own
According to the regular timetable, is it always ready by the time you are filing
Of
your
course,
nomination?
but because people must propose you and second you,
Yes.
they must be registered voters. So if you don't have a full register, how are you going to get the seconders and proposers?
Oh, the people who second the candidate.
Yes,
Okay.
somebody must propose you. It must be a registered voter. Somebody must second you. It must be a registered voter. These are the things that are checked. So we go around various all
And you
over
have
the
to pick
country.
people from different
Exactly,
constituencies.
to go and let them endorse. And it comes to the EC and they check. They check
So if
everything.
I write my
you
name, Oladumoshi Ayawaso West Wogon, they check.
you recall that in some presidential candidates have had their forms rejected, if you
Yes,
remember.
in 2016, yeah.
Because of these things, because the entries they gave were false. So if you don't have a full register, how can you do that? So you see, we are getting.
Why
into
would we
very-
not have a full register by October, according to what you read?
And I've told you, they themselves said that between 12 and 15, the EC will proceed with the verification of the authenticity of the entries on the electoral list. Meanwhile, the submission of candidature is from 5th to 9th. 5th to 9th, you have to submit your candidature. And yet you will do the full verification 12 and 15. Does it make sense?
Yeah, but by the time, when they are doing the full verification, I will already know that I'm a registered voter. It's up to them to verify.
No, but the parties must know. The party
must have the list. That's what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the party must trust Elvis Free Anchor.
No,
Like you said you are registered.
No, it doesn't work like that. You must have a register.
I mean, this is a COVID-19 year. This is not a regular year.
You must have, if it's a COVID-19 year, that is why you don't want to go and gather 17 million people to say you are registering. Now you are coming to the meat of the matter. Because it's easier to do a limited registration of those who have turned 18 and above, okay, so that they can be managed, okay? That is more sensible. Assuming, okay, but if you want to gather 17 million people over a 40-day period, and you say you're doing class tests, 5 polling stations, bringing them together, and they say they are buying PPEs for their staff, what about the people who will be queuing? Will you buy PPEs for
If
them?
they say, however, that everyone who is on the voters register in 2016, including those who have turned 18, come and verify your name. You've turned 18, come and write your name. You're already on, come and verify. If you don't show up, you're out.
But the CI that they've sent doesn't include that.
I know, but will that be satisfactory to the NDC? Have you considered an option like that?
They must engage. You see, they are not engaging. Their attitude is whether you like it or not, we are going to do it. You know?
When is the next IPAC meeting?
We don't know. We have no idea. And consistently, the MPP seems to be speaking for them. The MPP will come out and say the AC is going to do this, and they go ahead. The attitude, the posturing of Jane Mensah and Bosman Asare, the damage they have done to that institution and to our democracy, believe me, it's incalculable. When you have Bosman Asare come to us and say the NDC is a veritable threat to our democracy, how can you say
You said that as an AC?
Yes, as an electoral commission. He even went further. And so when he said that and we blasted him, then he said, if we continue like this, then the EC will not supervise the internal elections of the party. Can you believe that? Such angst from a public officer who is supposed to be neutral, the referee. He said, Hassan Kotoko, he said, as for Has, you will never win this match. Is this one correct?
That's not what he said.
That's the implication. You know, and he had forgotten that their own enabling law says that they must supervise the internal elections of every political party. That's the level of anger. That's the disposition of the people leading us. Is it not dangerous? And then on top of it, you have a deputy general secretary saying that they are going to beat us. I also West Wagon was a joke. They will beat us. And your friend, the president, he is supposed to be the icon of democracy. It was a fraud. When we were all in the university, Nanado, rule of law, I didn't belong to MPP, you know. But at least you had a certain distant admiration. Okay, this man truly believes in the rule of law. Or what? He says he came. Look at the things that are happening under his watch. Eh?
Which one?
Boys beating
the repeal
people,
of the criminal libel law.
Boys beating people from the day he took office.
You don't remember the repeal of the criminal libel law?
And I'm saying that time he was looking for power. They said when a man gets power, that's where you see his real character. He now gets power. And his boys are beating people every day. Nothing happens to them.
Where?
Oh, you don't know?
Are you talking about also West Wogo?
No, no. I'm talking about from the day they came into power.
But then he was sworn in.
The security people they beat from Ashanti region, all the things that their boys were doing, and nothing happened to them. They went to court and scattered the court.
Oh, I remember the Ashanti region. Why do you attribute that to the president?
But he's the one responsible. What happened to the people? Ayawaso West Wagon.
Yes, yes. There was a commission.
Yes, and what happened?
There's a white paper.
And what happened? Nothing. And the deputy general secretary of the ruling party, in a party where the president is supposed to be the whatever icon of the rule of law, says that they are going to beat people.
Oh, but he says these things. I mean, is that to be attributed
and
to
the party? And the
that's
party,
to be attributed to the
and
president.
this is not the first time. And the other one, there's another one, something yeah, or something, some character. He also says these things. You know, I also West is just the tip of the iceberg. We are going to. And even their members of parliament are saying it.
Oh, members of parliament?
Yes.
Like who?
So you are telling us, and you see, we went to meet one of the leaders of one of the church groups, and he was talking about peace, and I said, look, we birthed this democracy. That is why when we are provoked, we exercise restraint, and we have invested in infrastructure in this country. We don't want to see this country destroyed. That's why we exercise restraint. But they shouldn't forget that we have a revolutionary background.
That's a threat.
No, it's not a threat at all. No.
What does it mean?
It means that we exercise restraint because we came from somewhere. We don't want curfews again. We've been through it. We don't want June 4th again. We've been through it.
Talk of President Akufo-Addo. Let me
let me finish my point. Okay? So anytime they provoke us, like Ayawaso West Wagon, we say, look, we withdraw, we want peace. Look, I have been Deputy General Secretary in charge of operations. You know what the boys asked me? You people, when Ayawaso Wagon came and wanted to retaliate, you said we should stop and that there will be a commission and everything will be handled. They finished, nothing has happened. When we go around, they tease us that 2020 they are coming to beat us again. So they asked me, so you want us to sit down for them to come and beat us? So when we went to meet that clergyman, I asked him, this is what the boys are saying. I haven't gotten an answer. Give me an answer. I'm sure he's watching. I won't mention his name. Please, so I'm still waiting for the answer. Because the pressure is mounting.
You, Elvis Afriankra, you coined a term in the 2008 election in the Dagbon area, and you received a lot of cheers for that. Standing next to Professor Mills, you said that everyone likes peace, but justice before peace. Yes. Have you seen President Akufo-Addo personally settle the Dagbon crisis? Do you admire him for that?
He has tried.
So you admire him for that?
I don't admire him. You know he's not my friend.
Yeah, I know, but you are talking as a politician. Because you were worried about the Dagbon matter, and you used to say justice before peace.
We are not talking about Dagbon here.
No, you are talking about the man and his character.
If you settle Dagbon, and you end up beating people at Ayawaso West Wagon, and you form a commission and nothing happens to the people, and your party people are saying that 2020 is going to be worse, why should I admire him and clap for him? Why should I?
We'll leave it here. It's almost
please, let's get serious here. So we are heading towards danger.
What
and
danger?
The electoral
but NDC is going to court with this matter.
Yeah, I don't know about
that.
that.
Godfrey Dami told me that today.
I'm not,
they have filed and he has
responded. Is he my spokesman? I don't know.
No, I'm saying that NDC have filed.
And I'm saying that I don't know about that.
Okay. On the EC matter.
I'm doing technical work.
Yeah, but as a matter of fact, the NDC have
many
sued.
people go to court.
The NDC has sued on this
one. Many people go to court. So I'm just going to court. So
no, this NDC as a party.
And I'm saying I have not been briefed on that.
Okay.
Okay. So the point
you said
is
there's danger ahead.
There is danger ahead.
What kind of danger?
Because let me just, probably this will be my last.
Yeah, because we are running out of time. We have run out of a lot of time.
This is
1 minute then, 1 minute for that.
The ECOWAS protocols on peace and security, okay? And Article 2 on elections, Section 2, Article 2 on elections, it says, no substantial modification shall be made to the electoral laws in the last 6 months before the elections, except with the consent of a majority of political actors. Okay? Let me read on.
Yes.
No substantial modification shall be made to the electoral laws in the last 6 months before the elections, except with the consent of a majority of political actors. All the elections shall be organized on the dates or at periods fixed by the Constitution or blah, blah, blah. But essentially what it's saying is that 6 months before an election, you don't bring substantial changes. So you are bringing changes that in 2012, when we started the procurement processes in 2011, and we ended even before the middle of 2012, okay, you saw the challenges we had with the equipment. You are bringing new equipment that has not been tested, that has not been used before. And then in the midst of all this, and with the track record of the EC, that and with their NIA, very, very incompetent, and where you have a situation where millions of Ghanaians will not have access to their NIA card, and where it shows clearly that there is collusion between the EC and NIA to disenfranchise Ghanaians. It's a recipe for disaster. And against the backdrop of what do you call those people? Those thugs. I have to leave it here. You know?
I have to leave it here.
Opening, threatening us.
Thank you very much.
So if you know that a thief is coming to steal things from your house, he says, I'm coming, I have a gun, I'm coming to shoot, what will you do?